Hello, welcome to today's video lecture. So, I'll be doing some practical work on precisely the chart. So, I'm going to do this video, I'm going to make it into two. The first one is going to be a beginner's video approach on how to draw your resistance slash support slash trend line majorly on the lower time frames, and strictly I'll be using MT4 first. I'll be using MT4, then I'm not going to switch to trading view, the web version. But I guess MT4 is likely not going to give you exactly what I want, but just to help you understand your way around your MT4 app, just to show you. So I don't want to go straight to trading view because if I go directly there, some of you might get confused with finding some of the icons and tools and arrangements. So I'm going to use the MT4 first, then we'll now migrate to the trading view. So remember, I'm doing this just a beginner approach. So I'm not going to make things a little bit complex. But what you just need to understand is you just need to watch how I pick each tool. So the tool we are majorly going to be using here is number one, the horizontal line tool. You watch where I will place it. The next tool is the trend line tool, and the third tool is a rectangle tool. So the horizontal line tool and the rectangle box tool, it's almost doing the same thing. It's just that the rectangle tool or the rectangular box tool will likely shade colors around those areas you place it. So, preferably anyone you decide you want best, fine, it's up to you. So, but what we need to do or what we're doing here is likely, remember, there are two things that happen in the market, in the forex market or in the charts. As a forex trader, we are always looking for opportunity to take a buy. So when we're talking about the market, we're expecting the market to buy. That means we're expecting the market to move up. Like you can see, the market has been moving up. So when we're expecting the market to sell, we're expecting the market to move downwards. So the direction is always either going up or coming down. So, but how can you know that this thing is going to move up, and how can you know this is going to go down? So it's like the opposite of up and like the opposite of down, all of something like that. So how we do that, we have to do some technical analysis. So we call that technical analysis, and those technical analysis are not just done with the eyesight. It's a practical work where you have to deal with lines and on the charts, and also marking what we call resistance. So you have to manage the word. When we talk about resistance, here we mean that resistance is, sorry, in my other video, much later I'll now expose you to indicators. But for now, let us work with the chart the way it is, naked chart, so we get used to it. So what I mean by resistance, I'm trying to spot by, let's say, previous action where price moved from point A and then got to point B and then could not break through this zone, then it began to sell downwards. It sold downwards to this place. And then when it got back to somewhere around point A, what happened? The market kept selling, and then it started another new support. So resistance is where the market begins to sell, and we call that bearish movement. Mostly your default MT4 app is always going to be on a red candle, and the next candle it's going to be a green candle. So that's a bullish candle. Next candle is a bearish candle. That's a sell candle. So whenever you see that the candle is beginning to change at a particular zone or level, so we know that the market is beginning to change direction. So now the market got here, and instead of we expecting more sell downwards, but we discovered that we got a bullish move taking off from here. So it kept moving, but right here we are almost at the same. We are back to that point where I told you from point A to point B. The market is trying, it's struggling here, either to break it or to go downward. So what we're likely going to do at this point is we are going to take we're going to now do some analysis here. But before I do that, okay, get these two words. We have support, we have resistance. So what is support and what is resistance? So resistance is a level where price reach, and the price begins to react at that level, reacting at the level which price is unable to break through to move higher that level, but it begins to react and respect that level and begins to sell downwards. So what is a support level? Is the level or the zone where the price move and hit, and at that zone, instead of price to break it, price begins to bounce back, and then moving it begins to move upwards. So keep this in mind. In forex, you make money either ways. If you sell, you make money. You buy, you make money. But you can't be buying and be selling at the same time. So if you miss the buy, then possibly your target next should be a sell. So that is just likely what you're gonna do. So if I have missed the buy here, I shouldn't be looking to buy here again. I should be watching what the market is doing, and then try to what to watch and wait. If the market is moving up, that means it's still on the buy. It's still on buy. But if the market is selling downward, then precisely we can't change the direction of the market, but we trade along in the direction of the market. So that's just what you have to get this key concept in. So to add to the support and resistance, I want to make some emphasis that we have what we call time frame on your MT4. Once your chart is open and you click on it, you can watch my previous video where I did a video strictly on MT4 interface explained. So remember, I told you here when you click on quotes, you are going to see your pairs. Then when you want to open a particular pair to go to view your chart, the live market chart, you're going to tap once and you click open chart. The other option is clicking on chart directly. It's going to take you straight to the market itself. So, all right, now we have time frames. We have lower time frame. So from M1 to 30 minutes, we're likely categorizing that. We categorize those time frame as a lower time frame. So higher time frame, you can see it. This is hourly. So from the H1, when you start hitting the H1, when you start dealing with analysis on the H1, that is a higher time frame, but that is standing for hour, and this is also standing for hour. This is also standing for day. and the W is standing for week, and the MN is standing for month. So, but I want to let you know the difference. So, from all the M category of time frames, those are lower time frames. So, just note them. But I am only doing a beginner version of how to draw your support, because you have to practice with the lower time frame, then you now upgrade it to the higher time frame like the H1, the H4, the daily time frame. That is going to be from my next video. You are going to get you're going to follow up. So but for now I don't want to make things complex, so I'll have to keep it simple. So there's only two things. There are only two time frame I'm going to work with for now, because if I go to the 1 minute, you are going to see too many moves. That is just the thing. And most times, what you need to know from the M1 to M30, those who are skilled traders, they mostly use it for scalping. So that is the purpose. But why we don't use the 1 minute time frame to do analysis is that most time the market will always overpower it. So and at the end of the day, you are always going to end up blowing your account. So you have 5 minutes. So now when your candles are turned on the 5 minutes time frame. That means each candlestick is represented by 5 minutes. So this is 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes. If we calculate the range of candle, each candle standing is 5 minutes. So if I turn the duration to 15 minutes, it's likely I'm saying that what I want to see each candlestick standing on its own in a on a 15-minute duration. So that's what we mean. But now, the more we use the more we drop the time frame, the more we see candles displayed everywhere. So if you just open this chart from this place on the 1 minute, you could see only one candle that is standing here. So you need to be scrolling your chart, and it's making it more complex. But if you shorten the time frame to 30 minutes, you can see clearly exactly what the market is doing. So that is just the difference between the time frame. But professionally, you're going to learn why we have to avoid the smaller time frame. Well, you're going to learn how why we're avoiding the smaller time frame, and we need to we need to use the bigger time frame to do our analysis. All right, so guys, so let's get right straight into the deal. Without further ado, remember I've told you about the time frame. So if I switch to 30 minutes, so I'm going to stick based on the plan. 15 minutes, don't forget 30 minutes. But for now, I'll work with 30 minutes. Then later on, I will just step the time frame a little bit lower to 15 minutes to see what and how the market is doing. All right, now there are two or three great tools we are going to use to pick out our resistance zone. The highest point here is always the resistance. That zone is always the zone where the market will begin to hit. Well, okay, it's the highest zone where the market buys and hits and begins to sell. The support zone is the lowest zone where the market hits based on the time frame I'm using, and then it begins to buy. It's reacting according to how it is. So, so this is how the concept works in the forex market. We believe when a price is becoming so high, so high, so high, and then when it gets to a peak where it's unable to move again, what happened? The price will have to return back to normal, so that what will happen? There can be a continuous move. So that is just it. So if the market goes down, goes down, goes down, goes down, goes down, what will happen? It has to get to a certain level, and then the market makers will have to return the market to the normal way the market should move, which is it needs to change direction, so that what will happen? There have to be equal what demand and supply. All right. So now, what where I'm going to pick the tools I'll use. I have to move after the plus button where you take your trade. The next button here to the right is your F button. The next button is your what? Is your set of tools. Now these are where your technical analysis tools are always found. So I will click here once. So don't mind this, these are previous tools that have been used. So they are always put here on the under the history. Now the next thing I'm going to do, I want to delete every analysis, every tool that have been placed on the chart. I want to delete it. Either I will click one after the other, I will select this to erase everything. Now I'll go back to this place again. Then what do I do? The first thing I want to do is taking my horizontal line because I see the market is selling. So I'm going to put the horizontal line around that zone. Sorry, I told you I'm going to change this app because the app will not allow, I'm not going to get flexibility here. So that's why I told you I'm going to change the app to using, I'm going to change it to trading view. So, but if you're using your mobile phone to do this, it's very simple. Just tap the horizontal line and hold it, and then drag it to the highest point here where the market is, and there it is. So, what we are doing is the first thing you're going to do when you want to do your analysis, you're always going to move the chart backward like this. Now, always place the horizontal line. If you are trying to mark your resistance, always place it based on what has happened previously. So what has happened previously on the 30 minutes time frame is that we noticed that when price moved from point A to point B at this zone, what happened? It came it came selling with a bearish candle. So we are going to put now a line there to keep it to watch now currently what the market is doing. Will it break it or come down? Will it sell downwards? So that is what the market is doing exactly. It's acting based on what is existing. So the market keeps track or it follows history. That's what we call price action. So what I'm following now is price action. I'm trying to move along with the market, trying to what? Note what happened last time when the market got here. So I have already placed my horizontal line here to see if the market will move ahead of this zone or it's going to sell downward. So that is it. So for the sake of this tool not being flexible, I am going to use the next tool to do. Remember, I told you the horizontal line tool and the rectangular box tool is the same thing, or the rectangle tool is the same thing. So watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to tap once here, come over here. I will delete this tool. But what if you have used that tool? How do I go to selecting the next tool? Just click the plus button and then next scroll downward carefully. You are going to find the rectangle tool here. This is it, the shape tool. Now we are going to draw, we're going to draw here. Now I have a problem here with the app. I'm not using my phone. So for now, I will quickly switch, but I wanted to do something directly on MT5 so you know how to find the tools. So this is what I'm going to do next. That is a resistance zone for the sell. So I can open a sell down on this pair. I will sell with 0.10. I will leave it there because I have seen that price is selling at that zone. So that is a resistance zone. So I see my app beginning to I see I see my app is beginning to misbehave. So I'm going to close this. Let me reopen the app. All right. So this is the resistance zone. Now watch how I pick these two. My real practical will come on the trading view because I'm not getting a flexible move. But on your phone, you should be able to, when you tap it, you should be able to expand this zone, this tool, you should be able to set it properly. So the next thing I'm going to do now, I want to mark my support zone because the market was buying from this place. So what do I do? What do I do here? I am going to I'm going to pick the rectangle tool again. So I'm using a web version of MT4, so it's not giving me flexibility. But for the purpose of this lecture, that's why I'm using it. So please note what I'm doing here. This is plus. You always pick this because on my trading view, that is what I will be doing here. So this is that. So that's what I'm doing. So if you watch downward here, previously, um, price went lower than the previous zone where price bought. Price did This was where the market bought on this particular pair. So price did it went lower than the previous zone. Okay, all right, guys. I'll see you on Trading View. Please, if you have an issue, you can let me know. But for now, this is this is what I'm trying to show you, that for you to get your tools around, what you need to do here is possibly what come to this set of tools. Now you click plus. I'll always use horizontal line tool to show my words, to show my resistance and support zone, to mark them. And I also use the rectangle tool to also mark my support and resistance zone. Then the next or the last tool is the trend line tool. We will always use to show that is what the market is moving, is following a particular what trend, a pattern of movement. So we'll use this also to take analysis based on how the market is moving. So just take note of that. Okay. I've gotten how to use the tool. All right. So this is what I discovered. So to draw our trend, we possibly I'm coming. All right. So this I don't want this to waste my time. So let me go straight to the main thing. So this is the horizontal line. I've placed it there where the market was selling previously. I placed that because over here this is the point where the market reached and it started selling. So that's the zone of resistance, and here is the zone of support because the market is buying. Then I will explain further on this. I will explain further how we do some analysis here. I'll explain that when we get to trading view. For now, I'll catch you later on. I'll see you later on. Okay, good. Welcome to trading view. So the pair I was on was NZD USD. So I'm going to click there. Remember, I said I'll strictly be working. It's a beginner's video, so I'll strictly be working on the 30 minutes. So watch me how I pull my tool very fast here and smartly, and you can see the market using trading view. So if you are a beginner, what you need to do, there are other ways around outside using your MT4 to do your analysis, and trading view gives you a bigger picture of the market. So you can always go to the web to Google, just type tradingview.com, create an account, If you have a Google account, you can use a Google account, and that's just it. All right, let's get to business. So remember, there are three tools we'll be using. We're going to use the horizontal line tool. We're going to use the rectangle tool. Please stick to what I've showed you on your MT4. You can continue doing the analysis on your MT4 because that's where precisely you're always going to use on your phone. So trading view is mostly used with laptop. So if you don't have a laptop and you have MT4, so this is majorly what you're going to use. You're likely going to be using your MT4. So those tools I've shown you, that is where to pick those tools and do what I'm doing, what I'm trying to show you here, illustrate in this video. All right. So let's get to business. So this is a 30 minutes time frame. So the first thing I will do now is let's follow the market. So currently the where the market is, we have the current position where what happened here. We had price was selling here downwards, and currently price is struggling around this zone. So we don't use our eyes to do that. So we are going to get our tools. So the first tool I'll get here is a horizontal line tool. So this is it. Then what do? I will place a horizontal line here at the previous zone where price was selling, and that is what this candle did. After a higher push, you can see that after struggling, price could not move again and it's beginning to sell. So this is resistance. These are resistance on a 30 minutes time frame. So we may likely place another resistance here again because here is higher than here. So if we see the market coming back here, like trying to get out of here, and then it moves higher than this position, then we know that what the market has changed direction to a buy. But for now, the market is reacting based on the current resistance zone. So it's not buying, but it's rather it is reacting to the zone by moving downward. Though it's taking its time, you're not expecting it to begin to sell because if we also place a line here at this week, we discovered that the market is bouncing here because there's a minor support here. So I'll get into that later on. But for now, we are going to keep things straight, and I will explain that later on. All right. So now we've marked the zone. Let's say on Monday the market bought and it reached here. Price could not break through. It started selling. So now when we open the chart for this pair NZD USD, the first thing we do is we place our horizontal line here and then wait for the market to reach here. And when the market reached here, it got here with a higher push, so instantly it moved out of that zone, but it couldn't break past that zone. So rather, it just did an empty week there and started coming down. So we have placed that as another resistance. So this become our resistance one. This become our resistance two. So what do we do next? The next thing we're going to do is spotting our support zone. So this was our support zone one, but right now this is not support zone one because price came here from on Monday, for example, when price bought from here and sold here. The next time it didn't respect this zone, rather we had price breaking out of it. So not that is rather this is the lowest zone for now for the buy. Remember, we buy at the low zone and we sell at the high zone. So we cannot risk a buy here unless we discover that the market is breaking this zone and going upward. That's when we buy. So we can't buy at the high zone. So we buy at the low zone. So here is lower than this particular zone where price began to but so this is now our support zone one, and this is support zone two, and then we keep moving. So this will now become a zone, also a support zone what 3. I will explain that in my other lecture why this resistance. This is supposed to be a resistance, but when we are from in an advanced level, we normally will tell you when price moves from point A and uses this as a resistance to begin to sell. Anytime price moves and pass Anytime price moves ahead of this level or a level that is known as a resistance, the next time is coming downward, it uses it now as a support. But that will be explained in my other video. So now this is support level 1, support level 2, support level 3. Because if the market begins to sell, when it comes here, we are not going to expect the market to move from here and come here immediately. No, we'll now be looking for another bounce back from here because price has broken this resistance where it started selling, but now it has broken out of here. So if it's coming here, because it has passed this level, it will now use it now as a support. So it's not a principle, it's just what we call price action, following the price by it. So now, why is that market struggling there? Is the same thing I'm explaining here. Why is this market struggling? It's because of this major move that happened here. Instead of price to instead of price to okay, you can see that price came here, it struggled, it sold. The next time it moved with a higher push. So one, it broke this resistance because this was in the resistance. You can see the market struggling here. It sold and then moved here and then came downward. Again, when it was moving upward or higher, when price got here, price struggled. It respected the zone by pulling backward and all of this, and it broke. Now, when it broke here, past the zone, what happened here? The next time it's selling, what is it going to do? After leaving the resistance 1 zone, resistance 2. The third level here where there was a resistance, price will now use this to be doing some pullback. But if it's a sell, what will happen? Price will eventually break this level. But right now, why it's bouncing back is because the price has moved higher from this position. So now that this position is higher than this level, when it's beginning to sell downward, it will start reacting here as a minor support until now what more push will come from here to break it downward. So that's just what price action is all about. So that is what we have done here. So we will always buy when the market comes around here or here or here. And then we'll always sell when the market comes here. And how do we know that we will sell? Just what the market is doing. If it gets here and it changes the candle color to a sell, and we watch that the market is not moving higher but selling downward, then we sell. If the market begins to come downwards, if it begins to drop and it gets to here, what do? We watch the candle color and the reaction of the market. If the market begins to move upwards, what do? We rather place a buy, we don't sell again. So that is how we do. One is we have a technical analysis, and this is a technical analysis I'm doing to make to what? To take my trades. Okay? So if we move the chart backward previously to see what the market is doing, the next thing I will show you is how to use the rectangle box. So using the rectangular box is just selecting it, and you are going to get it shaded like this. So some people like this shading because when it's shaded, and then you are always watching for candle movement to shoot out of here. So depends on your preferences or your choice. So that is it. So that is previously that is for now that is the highest or the major resistance for now. So in case we have price breaking this one, so now why are we not seeing this chart? It's because the time frame we are using is lower. So if I move it to a higher time frame to 45 minutes, we should begin to see this area, but we are not seeing it because this is too lower time frame. But 1 hour should show us that zone that we are not seeing. Okay, are you seeing it on the 1 hour time frame? That is why we have more preferences to using higher time frame to analyze, because the more you use 15 minutes, 5 minutes, you'll be straining your eyes, and you will be what, you'll be limiting yourself to see a bigger picture of the market. So right now, I have quickly used 1 hour to see where the highest zone of resistance is, and I have placed my rectangular tool, and also I have also marked another zone where price began to what, drop from this zone. So I have dropped this here, so we can see this. So what you need to do, you don't have to keep the lines too many. So that's why I told you you have to mark key points, key areas. For example, I'm using a 1 hour time frame for a reason. So, but I promise to stick to the 30 minutes. So let's use the 30 minutes. You can see that there are more pressure coming here, and that is why very soon price might break this position of the market. It might break downwards, and if it breaks it, we're going all the way to this point. And then when we get to this point, we'll be watching what happens here. We're going to be watching what's going to happen here. So you see that these lines are tiny. So most people will prefer using the rectangular tool box to mark their area than using what, they are going to prefer using this to do their marking rather than what, okay, rather than using the single line tool. So, like I said, anyone you prefer, that's best known to you. That's up to you. Okay. So now I will delete this, and also people like shading areas where they are expecting the market to respect or break it. So when you shade it that way, it's allowing you wait for the markets to move out of your zone. So now we have broken this support here. So it's likely we are going downward. So that's just it. So what did I say? I said we sell at the high zone and we buy at the what? Low zone. So how do you know it's a buy? The color reaction of the candle when it changes to green and start moving upward, where you have placed your your support zone and your what, and your resistance zone line, or your horizontal line, there you know that okay, now I don't need anybody to tell me sell, because the color of the candle is showing me red here, and the candle is, and the market is moving downward, so I've sold. So as a matter of fact, you need to do your practice on your demo account, so that you familiarize yourself with what we're saying. So this is resistance one, resistance what, two. So price has broken out of this level. Now, what are we watching? We're watching also if price gets here too. We're expecting price. Maybe I will move this to this place. We're expecting price to react to this level, because we are getting we're getting some we're getting this, we're seeing a support and we're seeing a resistance. So something like that. But nevertheless, this is a beginner version. This is a beginner's version, so you don't have to crap everything. The main thing I'm trying to show you here is the main thing I'm trying to show you here is how to place your support and resistance. Now, the third thing you are going to practice is how to draw a trend line. How do you draw a trend line? You draw a trend line by counting the edge of the candle. This is one candle, this is another edge of the candle. Now you draw it sideways. Your trend line will always go sideways this way. And then what happens? You make sure you have good number of candles and you are positioning them at the edge of the wick. We call it wick, or we call it at the edge of the candle. So you make sure you have at least one, two, three candle touching your line. So that shows that what there is a trend line. What do we mean by trend line? We mean price is moving in a sideways direction, in a pattern, in a channel direction. That means when price moved and it touched this candle here, always use the rectangular tool to confirm if your trend line is correct. So we mean when price got here and also price got to this position of our trend line, what happened? We had a pullback, we had the market coming downward, and when price also, this is another confirmation why we are selling this pair. Why we are selling this pair is because we have a trend line this way, and the market had hit this diagonal line we have placed here. So what happened here? That's why the market is selling outside of this horizontal line we have placed here, because there is what there was because there was previously this was a resistance here. Let me use my horizontal line. This was there was a major resistance, but now since the market has pushed past this place, this is now the major resistance. This is a second resistance. This is now a third resistance because it has broken it. And now a double confirmation. When we did a sideways analysis, we can see that price has what hit the trend line and started selling downward. So let's look sideways. Sorry, let's look sideways and see, do we have any trend here? So I'm going to pick my trend line tool. What am I going to do? I'm going to place it here again. So we have one candle, one touch here. Remember, I told you to use the rectangle tool to always shade it at the end of the candle, so you know if that trend line will be valid or it won't be valid. So we have this trend line also this way. So I might have to do some adjustments here because this is out of the trend line. If we follow this path if we follow it straight, we notice that price broke out of here. We call this correction. So we had some correction here of price, and then what happened? Price gradually moved back to the channel. So what we'll be watching, this pair moving in this direction like this. I'll be watching what will happen around the zone. We'll be watching what will happen when price comes to this point eventually. We'll be watching, since there's now the trend line, we'll be watching if it will break it or if price will bounce back around this place. So I will just keep this, I'll just keep this point here. So since there is one touch here, remember I told you keep the line at the end of the candle or the wick of the candle. So, but we're seeing that price is struggling here, like wanting to go backward. So we don't know. Perhaps this was a breakout and we're likely going to have some correction. But normally it does like that. The market does not sell straight. Remember all these confluences, but I'll explain that in my video. For now, we can't buy because we can't take a buy unless there's a breakout out of here. So for now, we still be watching what the market is doing. So That is how we do an analysis. So this is how we do analysis. So I'll take one more video. So I'm going to do GBP USD. Okay, I'm sticking to the time frame. I don't want you to use 30, 15 minutes because 30 minutes it's moderate among all the time frame. Between the lower time frame 15 to the 10 minutes to the 5 minutes or 1 minute, 30 minutes is the most preferable time frame for you to work with. So that's just it. So we can see that. We can see that. So that's it. All right. So I'll be back. I am on the I'm doing some live I'm doing some live analysis now. So I'll let me respond to the group I'm in. All right. So sorry for that break in transmission. I gave out some signals. So I've been trying to. Okay. So welcome back. I just took some time off to respond to my clients. All right, let's do another analysis, guys. Remember, this is a beginner's version on how to start up your technical analysis journey. So, what are we looking for? Remember, I said we're going to do two things. We mark our support and resistance. Support is always at the down part of the chart, resistance is always at the high part of the chart. So how do you know there is resistance? You move your chart backward a little bit and see what happened, for example, 3 days ago, and what is happening right now. You use what happened yesterday. You use what happened yesterday, and for example, or what happened 3 days ago. Remember, the market um, based on price action, the market follow a particular pattern. So what happened previously is what is more likely going to happen the next time the market gets to that spot. So not a new thing that is more likely going to happen. So now what do we do now? The first thing I told you, you either use your horizontal line or you use your rectangle box tool. But for now, I'm going to use the rectangle box tool for now because of the shading I will have here. So this is the highest zone on the 30 minutes. I'll just put this straight to this zone. So that is my major resistance for now. So what I need to do is use the highest resistance first, mark the highest resistance, then come down to currently the level the market is at. So this is also now the second level of resistance for now, because the market needs to struggle out of here for it to go up. for it to get to this place. So this is now the second level of resistance. So we can see that when price got here, when we had a good move from here and price got here, it struggled and it came back here. When price also moved again to this place, it has been struggling. Oh no, it couldn't break out, but it started selling. So that is a resistance, is a valid resistance. So how do we know our support? How do we know we have a support here? How do we know our support? Now, previously we watched what happened here. I'm moving my chart backwards. So I'm going to put my rectangle. Now, when you're drawing your rectangle, you don't mind what happened to the left hand side, but you are always drawing the rectangle to the right hand side because that is the current position of what the market is doing. So you can see that um, if I put this to the right hand side, trace it from the previous zone of the market to all the way down to the right hand side, you can see that we had a support level. Remember, with emphasis, I said where you see the color of the candle changing from green, from red to green, and it's moving upwards, that is a support. It's a buy. We call that a buy zone. So we had some little we had we had some little violation here. We had it could probably be what we call a stop loss. I mean a stop loss hunt. So price moved a little bit. There was a little bit deviation from the support zone, but we had a correction back here. So we can do an adjustment back here. Remember, I said this is the current position of the market, so we always follow the current position of the market. So based on the current level of the market, let's leave the other side. Currently, this is now the major, or the now this is now the major support. This is now a support level one. Why this is support level two? So what do we mean by support level one? If the market eventually breaks out of here with a buy and keep going, we will watch out here. There's not how the market will move out of here. It has to respect this zone. If it buys here, if it continue pushing upwards, it's likely going to respect the resistance zone one. So this is resistance zone two. So the market is still respecting resistance zone two. If it breaks here, we'll now be watching at the resistance level two. I mean resistance level one if it's going to exceed it. So this is resistance. We mark resistance level one and keep, and mark resistance level two and keep. The same thing with the buy. When we're looking for a buy zone, which is the support zone, we mark the support level zone one, and we also mark support level zone what two. So if price moves here, eventually we will be looking forward for a buy at this level. So that's just it. Now we don't have to keep things complex. I told you, just try to do two things. Take your support level one and support level two. Also mark for the sell resistance level one and resistance level two. Don't make the resistance or the lines too many. When it becomes too many, you will be distracted. Now, the other thing we will do is we need the trend line to know how the market is moving in a sideways direction. So we now get the trend line because if we see this week, the week of this candle, and the next week, you can see that price has been bouncing here. So this alone is valid. It's a valid trend line. I said you place it at the edge of the candle wick like this. So that forms your trend line. How do you know the trend line is valid? Always use a colored rectangular box to mark that area, and then try to match it with the next candle. Two to three has what validated your trend line. One candle cannot make it valid. So you need from two to three to make your trend line valid. So what is the work of this trend line? We'll be watching, since the market is selling here, we'll be watching when price hits here, Will it break out of this trend line because it has been bouncing? The market has been moving in a sideways direction. When it's sold and it hits here, it moves up again. When it hits another resistance, it comes back to the trend line and moves higher, just like that. So if it comes to this zone here again, we'll now be watching what will happen here. Will it go? Will the market move out of the trend line, or it will continue its sideways move to the upside? If it breaks it, then the trend line is no longer valid. So we also have a sideways this way for a sell. Now the trend line is two ways you draw it. The down position or diagonal down position trend line is always for a buy. So anytime price moves like this and touches the trend line, we take a buy. Anytime it moves again and touches it, we take a buy. Anytime it moves here, we watch what happens. If there's a pull or a move to the upside, we now take a buy. Now for the sell, we are also seeing a sideways move this way. So what do? We place also the trend line this way, and also what are we going to do? We place the line diagonally, and anytime the candle moves like this, anytime the candle moves like this, what do? Anytime it moves in the upward direction and touches the trend line, remember I said two from two to three touches on the trend line, on the line you're drawing diagonally or sideways as the market is moving. That makes your trend line valid. So now we have another touch here. So this is a valid trend line. So if the market moves with impulse and touches here, and we watch what is happening, if it's not moving out of here, we sell. If it moves this way, it's not breaking here, we look forward to what take now a sell. You can see that. So that is just it. In fact, if I extend this downward, we can see we even have three touches from here. So we also have a very valid trend line with price, but you can see the way the price is moving. You can also do a trend line sideways this way too, because we can see that price has been hitting this side and falling also. So more likely we can have a trend as many positions as we want. So what is the work of the trend line? That means outside of you following support and resistance to take a sell or to take a buy, the trend line also can also give you an entry to the market. It can also give you an entry in the market. So for example, I told you the bottom trend line is always for a buy. The one at the top is always for a sell. So whatever way we see the market moving sideways, if it's moving from the upside, then we place it. If we see it's moving both up and down, we also follow the market in that same direction. So okay guys, I'll do one more example with one more pair. 30 minutes. So let's do this. We're going to do this with Euro USD with a major pair. Let's see this, how this applies to this. Okay, 30 minutes. Let's move our chart backward. Let's see what from history, what price did. For example, what price did here around when the market was here. Let's say, for example, last week. Let's see what happened here. So that is we capture our major resistances, our major resistance one. So what do we have currently now? So we can't go back to where the market has left. So this is where we are. So we have to focus now. So for now, this is now our major resistance two, based on what the market where the market is acting, the level the market is playing or acting. So this is now our major resistance two. So for now, what I'm going to do, I will call this major resistance 1 because we can't even see the other part of the market. So for now, where we can see is where we measure our analysis on. So for now, this is major resistance 2. So this major resistance 1 because the market is far away from where we are. So we try to view we try to visualize the current position of the market. Okay, so major resistance one, major resistance two. So let's look for support zone here. Well, because price has been bouncing here, so price we had some move here, so we take this as a support zone for now, based on what the market did. But let's trace it backward. Well, I have to step this up to 1 hour. That is why we tell you we use bigger time frame so that we don't strain our eyes. So I will move this this level of this current level. I'll move it backward to trace why did we have a buy. So the 1 hour time frame have shown me that what there was an existing support there, and that is why we had that buy. So what we're having here is likely we're just having a retest, but the market is selling. So we'll just put this here for to fulfill all righteousness because we had price bouncing back. So we'll just capture it until when the market has moved more than this direction or this position. We now mind you, I said we will always drag our either our horizontal line or our rectangular box tool or rectangle tool will always drag it to the right because the right hand shows you the current position of the market. The left hand is always what you're trying to trace to see what happened yesterday, last week, last month. So the right hand is always what is happening currently in the market. So remember, I promise to stick to the 30 minutes time frame. But when things are getting out of hand, I have to go back to the higher time frame to fall back to it. All right. So remember, I taught you trend line. What else can we? Okay, this is resistance, major resistance one for now on our 30 minutes. Major resistance. I mean, sorry, this is our support zone one and our major support zone two. Major for now based on the time frame we're using. So this is support zone one, major support zone two. Well, this is major, so there's you can't have two majors. So this is major support zone what one, and then the next support zone two. Then this is major resistance one, and then the next what minor or whatever resistance 2. So we're having price bouncing here, but this very soon we are going to have price breaking out of here because the market is on a downtrend. Okay, so market also outside of this analysis we're doing, which is the support and resistance, we can see price is moving in a behavior of what a sideways pattern. So what do we need to do? We get our trend line to see how we can capture some touches. So we have one touch here at most. So how did I know there's a trend line there? Because by this candle week and following the diagonal position of the trend line and also the sideways move of the market, we have 1 week hitting this trend line and the market selling. We have another week, the market also selling. So we also have another sideways movement here, and that is why the market also did bounce back from here. So, but we're expecting two things. Either the market should rise above this level, break out of it, and start going upward, or the market will keep going downwards, bouncing and moving downwards. So, how do we confirm that the trend line is valid? I did say you always use the rectangular tool to mark it, at the wick of the candle, the edge of the candle, and also that's what you're going to do. So we have a valid, we have a valid trend here. So this is always our buy. Like I said, when the trend line is at the down part, the sideways side or the downward part, we are always looking at the buy. Whenever the market moves with a force and it touches the trend line, we take a buy. The upward trend line, whenever the market moves to the upside and touches the trend line, we move and take what is sell. So that is just it. So that is this is just a beginner's this is just a beginner video on the technical analysis, how to draw your support and resistance versus your trend line. I hope this video is helpful and self-explanatory. If you don't understand anything, you can replay the video, and as best as possible, you should you should get all the terms used here. And I encourage you to do the practice on your demo account. Don't rush anything. Forex is not something you rush. Don't test run something and you say, oh, today the thing worked, and I have to take it live to the market. No, you have to you have to be very sure that whatever you are arriving at, or whatever strategy you are coming up with, you have to backtest it and make sure out of 100 times you backtested it, you have some little chances of failure. So, and the more you backtest that strategy, the more it gives you room to correct whatever it is. And that is just it. So, for now, goodbye. Please, if you found this video helpful, do like, subscribe, and share. And also, your comments are welcome, so you can help us improve on our subsequent videos and stuff. So, thank you for now, guys. I remain my humble self, FS Gabby the Trader.